Hi everyone, today's video is about Bucharest, the capital city of Romania. Have you been to Romania? If not, you have to visit it. I have visited Romania many times. It has beautiful nature and many interesting tourist attractions. Talking about Bucharest, it is a big city with a lot of amazing places to visit. My video cannot cover all the places that are worth visiting. However, I am sure that you will like the places I will show you today. We will visit the Parliament of Romania, the residence of Nicolae Ceausescu, the former dictator of Socialist Romania, and the Museum of Communism. Let's start! My trip to Romania started at Otopeni Airport. Besides taxis, there are many other ways to get from the airport to the city, public buses and a relatively new train service. Depending on your choice, you have different options for buying a public transport ticket. Of course, I was prepared and found on internet the exact ticket I needed to buy and its price. Right at the train station, I saw 3 different ticket vending machines. I thought, okay, that's easy, I'll buy it now. And the adventure began. One vending machine wasn't working at all, another wasn't accepting credit cards, and of course I didn't have any cash in Romanian lei. The third vending machine didn't have an English interface, and I spent almost 10 minutes trying to find the ticket I needed. Then I asked locals for help, but even they could not understand how to buy the ticket that I needed from this machine. One train has already departed, but I was still without a ticket. Have any of you had similar experiences with confusing ticket machines in a foreign country? Share your stories in the comments. Then I found a ticket counter with a cashier, and only there I was able to buy the ticket I needed. Thank God she spoke English. Well, even after that, the adventure didn't stop. I used the public transport ticket during the day, and in the evening of the same day, it stopped working when I needed to enter the Bucharest metro. The metro staff tried to help me and then, with an absolutely certain face, said, "Your ticket is not valid for the metro." I told them I had used it 4 times before and everything was okay, so that's definitely not the case. We tried to use it again and again, and suddenly this ticket worked. What can I say? Be prepared, it won't be boring. Speaking of adventures, the first museum I wanted to visit was a military museum in Bucharest. I read on the internet that this museum has a unique exhibit and I was very interested in seeing it in person. But what a big disappointment! The museum was closed for January holidays for the whole week. So, unfortunately, I had no chance to visit the museum. After living in Western Europe for many years, you get a very interesting feeling when you visit Bucharest. It clearly has an Eastern Europe vibe and is very similar to the city where I grew up. One of the places in Bucharest worth visiting is the former Ceausescu residence. Unfortunately, taking videos inside the residence is not allowed. To me, that doesn't make any sense, especially since photos are allowed. By the way, their official website says that both videos and photos are forbidden. Maybe that's an outdated information. Our tour guide clearly said that photos are allowed, but not videos. Let's start with a bit of background. The Ceausescu residence, also known as the Spring Palace, was a luxurious home of Nicolae Ceausescu, the former communist leader of Romania, and his family. Built in the 1960s, this palace showcases the extravagant lifestyle of Ceausescu and his regime, in stark contrast with the hardships faced by the Romanian people during that time. The palace features beautiful chandeliers, carpets, a wide range of luxurious amenities, and unique decorations throughout. It has a private sauna and a very large indoor swimming pool, highlighting the extravagant lifestyle of the Ceausescu's family. Another interesting feature is the large number of images of peacocks, a bird that symbolizes immortality and beauty in many cultures. These peacock designs are found in many places within the palace, including the furniture and wall decorations. Additionally, the palace includes the grand dining room with a massive table and crystal chandeliers, luxurious home cinema, and winter garden filled with exotic plants. The bedrooms and living areas are furnished with expensive furniture, and there is even a golden bathroom with gold-plated fixtures. All these features highlight the shocking luxury and distinct personal tastes of the former Romanian leader and his family. Even though Bucharest suffered during the Second World War and lost many architectural treasures during the socialist dictatorship, it has a beautiful city center with some nice and interesting properties. Here, on one of the narrow Bucharest streets, you may find the entrance to the Museum of Communism. I was afraid this museum would be similar to German museums about communism, except for the GDR Museum in Berlin, as the GDR museums are mainly private collections focused on nostalgia with many artifacts from the GDR era, and they don't convey much about the communist period. This museum in Bucharest wasn't like that. They started their exhibition with facts about how many people were arrested and imprisoned, and how many people suffered under the regime. Besides that, the museum also explained how communism in Romania worked, the architecture of the ideology, how the economy functioned, and many other aspects. This is very useful for the people who never lived under communism, especially for many American tourists I met who romanticized those times without actually knowing what it was like. I was surprised at how similar Romanian communism was to Soviet communism. It was literally a small copy with the same ideology, bureaucracy, repressions, and economic model. Most of the items in the museum were produced in communist Romania, and they were absolute copies of Soviet items produced in the USSR. For example, this radio is an absolute copy of the Soviet radio that my grandfather had. Moving on to modern-day Bucharest, like any European city, it is slowly filling up with modern business centers. However, you still have a chance to see the old architecture from communist times opposite the modern buildings. Romanian communist architecture is like a small copy of Soviet architecture. This particular building, today called the House of the Free Press, was inspired by the Moscow State University and Soviet architectural style. It was built in 1956 and was originally called House of the Spark, named after the communist newspaper. Sadly, the building doesn't look as good as it did during the communist era, even though it still serves a similar purpose today, with many of the country's newspapers having their headquarters inside. Opposite the building, there is a monument. Previously, there was a big monument of Lenin here, which was removed in 1990. Today's monument is called Wings, a monument to the anti-communism fight. Let's take a moment to appreciate the parks of Bucharest. This video was filmed in January, so you won't see anything except bare trees and branches. And everything in this video is grey and dark. My older videos from Bucharest, filmed in summer, have much better colors. But those videos were never intended for YouTube and are of low quality. So if you arrive in Bucharest during the warm season, enjoy its parks. Reserve some time just for walking and enjoying life. In winter, you won't get the same experience, especially if the weather is cold. Here is an interesting spot. There is a monument of Michael Jackson right in the middle of the park. Next, we have the Arcul de Triomphe, the Triumphal Arch, somewhat similar to the one in Paris. It was built after the First World War and is very monumental. Now let's look at one of the city's cultural gems, the National Theatre in Bucharest. It is one of the city's most important cultural institutions. The building has memorable architecture, featuring a modern design after its renovation in the early 2000s. Opposite the theater stands a sculpture, or better said, a group of 16 sculptures of different literary heroes. This group cost 1 million euros and weighs more than 25 tons in total. Take a look at this. The Holocaust Memorial. It was built in 2009 and features several symbolic elements, including the memorial column and the Wall of Remembrance. And now it's time to see one of the Bucharest's most iconic landmarks, the Palace of the Parliament. This colossal building is the second largest administrative building in the world, after the Pentagon. The Palace of the Parliament, also known as the People's House, was commissioned by Nicolae Ceausescu. Construction began in 1984 and involved more than 20,000 workers and 700 architects. It's also the heaviest building in the world and the most expensive administrative building. Inside the palace, you will find more than 1,100 rooms. The decor features extensive use of marble, crystal chandeliers, and richly decorated ceilings and walls, with almost all materials sourced from Romania. The building also houses the Romanian Parliament as well as the National Museum of Contemporary Art. The Palace of the Parliament has a controversial history. It was built at an enormous cost, both financially and in terms of the displacement of thousands of residents and the demolition of historic neighborhoods. Today it serves as a reminder of the excesses of Ceausescu's regime. If you ever visit Bucharest, the Palace of the Parliament is definitely a must-see. To visit, you have to book a tour in advance and bring your ID with you. Another historical gem is the Stavropoleos Monastery, built in 1724 and is known for its beautiful Brankovenesque style. This Orthodox church is relatively small, but boasts many handmade paintings and is very richly decorated inside. Overall, the city center has a very interesting vibe and is full of different museums. It's very hard to decide which one to visit if you are in Bucharest for only a few days. Now, let's move outside of the city center to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. This place has a very interesting history. Initially, it was a World War I memorial built in 1923. However, in 1958, the old memorial was dismantled and moved away in great secrecy during the night, and a new mausoleum of the communist heroes was built in its place. After the fall of the communist regime, the old tomb was returned to its original place, which you can see now on your screen. At the same time, the communist mausoleum is still nearby, although access is restricted. As the sun sets over Bucharest, we see a flock of crows flying over the city, symbolizing the blending of the past and present. Just as these birds navigate the skies, we navigate the rich history and vibrant life of this fascinating city. If you ever find yourself in Romania, be sure to explore the many layers of Bucharest. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more travel stories. See you in the next video that would also be about Romania.